Hello, I'm Toby Hodges. Welcome aboard the new Lagoon 43. Designed as a replacement model for the Lagoon 42, but the Lagoon 42 is still in production. Lagoon 42, they have built over 1,000, I think nearly 1,100 since 2016. So when you are devising a model to replace that eventually, they need to get it right. It's a very different boat. It's the same length and the same beam, but other than that, completely new throughout, and plenty of ideas that I'll try and take you through, show you some of the features now while we're sailing along. And here's one of them. We saw the feature on the 60 having a big opening platform in the bulwark. This, a gate, which I think really helps. We saw it last year actually on the HH44, but one of those ones you think, why didn't people do that before? Because getting on from the dock is so much easier if you don't have to try and jump around onto the steps. So accessibility was a prime goal for Lagoon and VPLP, the designers. So that's whether that's from the dock, from the dinghy, or from the marine itself, coming from aft. And then you are into a big space, obviously. And part of the goal here was to make one of the main goals was to make as many different areas to enjoy the boat from as possible, and as much separation for family and friends when they do that. So there's a lot of different formats for these tables, which I'll talk about. Massive opening in that bulwark, which that'll give the designers some structural headaches to work around. But you can appreciate a lot of space back here as well. And the other major thing, I'll go through that in a minute, but just walking up on this side deck, just wanted to show you a little bit, moving forward, the volume in these hulls now. And I think that is a massive difference over the 42. Is you can probably see just how wide that bow is and how far forward that volume is carried. It's absolutely enormous. That looks like the bow shape of almost like a racing scow. The way monohulls have gone, and what they've done to achieve that is try to keep the actual waterline of the hulls narrow. So there's a chine, I don't know if you can see it through the netting here. Let me see if I put my camera down over like this. There's a chine below that directs that, it keeps the waterline beam narrow. So just chatting with VPLP, they were saying, a concern was the sea keeping. As you put big fat bows on, basically, they're worried about slamming in a seaway and stuff, but they did a lot of CFD analysis, and they found, having these inner chines helped avoid that, in theory. Anyway, the reason why we've got this shape is because they wanted to have symmetrical cabins. So 4 cabins where no one feels there is obviously a 3-cabin version as well, but in a 4-cabin version, everyone feels like they've got the same size cabin, no cheap seats. And we'll have a look in a minute inside. It is huge in here. And then while up here, got this sort of forward cockpit area as well. Plenty of ventilation through that forward window. You can get up onto the Flybridge from here as well, but we'll go up the steps in a second. So we're currently sailing under the code 0, as you can see. We're making a comfortable 7 knots in around 11 to 13 knots true. sailing, when I was on the helm anyway, at approximately 60 to 70 degrees to the apparent wind. Comfortable cruising conditions. Then in terms of more separation, you still have a Flybridge area, but they've added sort of a seated part of that, like the larger lagoon, rather than just a sunbathing area. So you've sort of still got this bulkhead helm with everything led here, but you get that seating area as well without it pushing the boom up too high. See on the mast here, got a couple of wind generators they're testing out as well. Interesting to see how much power those can produce. And a single stair out to the cockpit, and then up past the helm with another set of steps up onto the Flybridge itself. And here's your control systems, just these 2 powered winches here. And you've got an extra one for the sheets on the aft decks as well for the Co-Zero. You've got a high cut jib leading through here onto this jammer, onto this winch, and the same on the starboard side, comes around the turning blocks onto this jammer here. So you can share this winch between that sheet and having the main sheet on there as well. And then the Traveller, it's just on a flat winder winch there, so that's push button control to slide the Traveller each side to the main sheet. Currently making 7.5 knots in 12 knots true at around 70 to the apparent, so not bad. Cruising speeds, really nice flat water conditions. It's certainly easy to get around with these huge side decks, really wide, chunky boat, and this you can see has, you know, Lagoon's style and the style really of having a big square top mainsail, plenty of power in that. Further forward the mast base now than, for example, the 42 was. That's, you know, putting the mast base on the main bulkhead, makes sense. End up with quite a smallish jib because it's quite high cut as well. And I don't know, I found we were making around I think sort of early 5 knots in 10 to 12, and it didn't really want to point too high for that. So yeah, it's more comfortable when you come off the breeze to more like 45, 50 degrees to the apparent wind. So it likes to keep a bit of speed up, because if you pinch a bit, it slows down to sort of 4.5 knots in these conditions. Nice little feature, this aft bench area as well. So this is with long bench with conventional forward-facing backrests, but you can then pull this up, same both sides, and that means basically you can sit facing aft, and this is with the davits up. But obviously when you lower this davits, which is just on this jammer at the moment, so the dinghy would be on there, you lower that, that goes down, and you have sort of a conventional, older style, hang on, aeroplane going over, older style tramp net on there that you just put your feet out on, and you can also put a mattress on that, you know, as a sort of sunbathing area as well. But multi-purpose area, because this is a good davit system that can take a 3.4 meter dinghy with a 20 horse on it, you know, so up to 200 kilos weight I think on that, and it gives you that extra area aft for relaxing. So chatting with Massimo Gino from Nauta Design at the Cannes Yachting Festival a month or so ago. You know, a big focus of this was making this saloon and cockpit area as adaptable and versatile as possible. So you can see you have this huge opening I'm talking about here, and then you've got this sort of, well, same sort of size table set up at the moment with aft facing and forward facing bench to them, but the point is that these can be adapted to suit. So what I'll do is I'll show you some of these pictures here. So this one shows a small saloon table which fits on these legs and stows behind this backrest here. There's a position for that table to give you the coffee table, and then you can have this one, the bigger one, in here, or it can be swapped out with that teak table there, the big one aft. And then you can start to separate those spaces using the doors, and then you can join the tables up to make big long table, and then you can add the small table to it to make it an even longer great dining table. So a lot of different positions there, aft facing, long, with separation, without separation. So depending on what sort of conditions you're in, and then of course you can lower this one and shut it off, or if you are using it as a bed or a day bed. So yeah, as I say, quite adaptable and clever use of space and the fittings and furnishings within here. In here you've got Lagoon's trademark vertical windows, giving you near surround vision. It's just that area in the quarter where the fridge freezer is that you lose. It's not standing height, it's seated height vision. So sit down here and I get the views. So standing up I haven't got them. But yeah, very light and without any of the glare because of those vertical windows, and that's the big forward opening window that's going to give you plenty of ventilation through here. Huge amount of refrigeration space. Look at that. Big front opener, 2 drawers, 2 more drawer fridges there as well. Well, you can never have enough cold booze when you're cruising, surely. So forward facing galley and loads of work surface area as well here. You've got double sinks, plenty of stowage, large amount of bins area below that. And then, you know, big stowage spaces in these Saloon sole lockers as well. Yeah, a lot of space around this galley. Then more lockers here below the sort of chart table officey area here, which shares that stool of the Saloon. So this is what you need to see. It's what I'm talking about, the difference in the hull shapes really to give you this much space in the hulls. And I'll show you the owner's cabin. This one is a 3 cabin boat. So you can imagine this would be the same symmetrical layout if you had a 4 cabin boat. I mean, that is an astonishingly large berth to have as a forward cabin berth on a 42-foot boat. Incredible. Loads of natural light, cutaways each side to get up onto the berth itself. Yeah, that's what all that forward volume buys you. Plenty of stowage space in this entrance area as well. And yeah, each cabin has its own heads. This one, separate shower, wet room area. Uses that sink that folds up there for when you are having a stand-up shower in there. And then moving aft, this one has the extra fold-down bunk in here as well. So you've got a little kid in there to sleep. Nice little camp. But yeah, again, imagine that with that folded up. It's massive. And a lot of natural light as well. Plenty of ventilation. Not bad views. Again, stowage not going to be an issue on here. And same sort of heads and shower compartment layout as the forward cabin. Not a lot of solid wood used anymore. A lot of veneer and plastic trim. And then you can appreciate 4 cabin boat will be a mirrored version of what we just saw, but have a look at this. Not conventional in that the owner's hull has the berth forward. And that means I'm going to close this off here, keep the noise down. So sliding door there to close off that stairwell. Yeah, the point of that is it's like a lot of med boats, most med orientated monohulls especially have the forward cabin, the owner's cabin forward. Keep away from the noise of the dock, noise of the engine, etc. And because you have that incredible amount of forward volume, as I say, you could still end up with a 1.6, I think that's 1.6, either 1.4, 1.6 meter wide forward berth. I mean, that is a proper double, and away from the noise. Still got those cutaways there. Big hull window, huge desk area. What it does mean is that aft you have a shower room that many people would be envious of. It's, yeah, a lot of space and natural light, and even the heads. You've got all this area behind it. This is me sat in my room with a view. About to have a douche. I mean, what a shower area this is. You want to have a big water tanks, generator, water maker, so you can just sit here and run your fresh water. Yeah, amazing amount of space. Well, it's something a bit different, isn't it, to have that at this size. Big sink area, and then you're into this, yeah, which like increasingly valuable home office desk area. Central. You might have noticed from the exterior, the sailing pictures, you know, there's just the hull window aft and forward, so there's nothing central on this part. I'll find out if that's an option. And then there's obviously loads of storage space. Hang on, let's open some of this up. Washer dryer in there. Plenty of bag stowage. Those bottom two don't open. There's your sliding door. Another two lockers there, and hanging lockers on the starboard side. Yeah. Yeah, 1.6 meter wide forward berth. Lagoon 43 is built in the Vendée on Lagoon's factory, which is about 40 kilometers in from Les Sables d'Olonne, where this was launched and commissioned. And yeah, it's not replacing the 42 yet. In fact, it starts at the same price. So, but they're different pricing. So the Lagoon 42 costs 499 euros, 1,000 euros ex tax. But that's for an equipped boat. They only now produce it in a 4-cabin version, so it's a very popular charter boat. Whereas this starts at the same price, is available in a 3-cabin boat, so it starts at 499,000 euros ex tax, but then you need to add a lot of the options that you see on the boat that we're on, and that will quickly amount to an average loaded boat of about 680,000 euros ex tax. It's a lot of boat. It's a massive 43. Hope you enjoyed the tour from Palma. See you next time.